Some of you know Amy from before, and I'm not going to spoil. She's got an intro video. I'm not going to spoil that. I just want to say that it's great to have her back, better than ever. So, with that, Amy, I don't have a lot to. Just let's do it.
Take it from here. Let's do it. Hi, I'm Hines, and this is my Real Talk launch party. Well, that's 2020, but it's not time to quit, it's time for grit, so we're going to keep this. This is an open platform to talk about life, culture, and real truth. Join me. Click the link below at ahrealtalk.com. Like, subscribe, and let's do this journey together. Well, maybe there's that. How about that? It's going to be seamless, guys. Can you tell? My life has definitely not gone according to plan. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about that. I'll use some of my experience to make it interesting and fun. We'll talk a little bit of business along the way. Sound good? I'm going to bore you with PowerPoint presentations and that sort of thing. Who here is zoomed out? I'm zoomed out. Yes. I don't need another presentation and all the slides and all the things. So we're just going to talk like real people because it is in fact Amy Hines Real Talk. So I've decided that being independently wealthy and doing my own thing is really where I need to go with my life. So I have made myself my own brand. Congratulations, go me. We're going to see how this goes. So you guys have met me before. I've been in a number of different capacities and a number of different organizations over time. The only thing that has changed is I think I'm a little more sassy. I've gained about 10 pounds and I've grown some hair. So outside of that, I'm pretty much the same Amy that you guys met before. I'll give you a little bit of my background on how we got here. So I went to the Ohio State University to get my pre-med degree. Go Buckeyes. For any of you Michigan fans, you guys can yours exit to the left. So I cannot afford to not be a fan of the Ohio State University. Given my student loans, I will be a fan until I'm at least 55. So I went and decided I thought I would go to medical school. That was a terrible idea. I think I did that more for everyone else in my life than something that I really wanted to do. I did want to help people, but however, I do not want to wrestle with insurance companies. So I decided to take a hard left and go with my original dream. I watched, I think, a little too much of Top Gun, and I wanted to be a pilot. So that didn't work out. I normally wear glasses, so they said, sorry kid, you're smart enough, but you can't see for crap, so you're out. So anyway, I went into the Army instead because why not? I enjoyed it very much. However, they didn't give two hoots about what I went to school for, and they said, you're going to be in the transportation corps. I said, I don't know what that is, but let's do it. So transportation corps it was, and that is essentially logistics, getting people and things from A to B, and all the things in between. That is where I definitely started to flourish and figure out a little bit more who I was, and get away from my family. So that was very helpful and useful. However, I got injured pretty badly, so I'm now upright and walking. I can't feel my feet, so I can wear these crazy things. You're welcome. So it was worth it. I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. From there, I got 2 master's degrees, and I decided to launch out into the business world and gain some experience. I worked for practically nothing for a practice that I said, listen, I got the education, I've got a lot of personality, I'm smart, I can learn, but I don't have any experience. We take a risk on me. So I burned through my savings and worked for basically nothing to get some experience with them, and we parted ways, and then from there, I went into another company that I actually got fired. Guys, if you haven't gotten fired before, it's kind of liberating. I don't recommend it more than once. However, that was definitely not something that was part of my personality. It was a bit of a reality check I had while I was kind of keeping my professional life together. My personal life was a disaster. As you can see by a little bit of my video intro, those are all little samples and snippets of my real life. From when I was a child all the way moving through. So from there, don't clap at your employees like they're dogs, by the way. That's why I got fired. She clapped at me, she told me to speak, and I was like, I don't think this is working. She's like, I think you're right. So we parted ways, and from there, I've been working for another company up in Nevada for about 4.5 years, but I started volunteering in the prison ministry. That was completely by accident. I was playing volleyball. They said, we're going to go play volleyball in the prison. I said, oh, okay, let's do it. So I went down there, had a great time, and so I got trained, and in my first round, we did a Christmas party for them. While we were doing the Christmas party, they said, hey, you can get up and speak. I was like, I'll do your thing. I'm going to tell a bunch of enemies my life story. That's not a good idea. And then I ended up with a mic in my hand. So with the mic in my hand for less than 3 minutes, I had grown men in the front row that were serving multiple life sentences that were in tears. The guard in the back was crying. Listen, you need to get it together. One person in this room that needs to hold it together. Look tough, okay? So that is why we're here. You come play in the prison ministry, and that's how this all started. So that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with business, but y'all are special, so I'm going to tailor my talk to you guys. You're welcome ahead of time. So, with that being said, we'll kind of get into a little bit of some of my experiences. Oh, I did leave one of my job experiences out. I was the manager of a 3 million square foot hospital up in the Seattle, Tacoma area. And I had a number of employees. In fact, I had 140 people that reported to me. Many of them did not speak English. So that was a real challenge. Who here has employees that work for their company? You're all self-employed. You independently walking in here. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this will apply to those of you that have employees, and those of you that don't, this will apply, I think, for some of your real life. The universal language that I have found for anyone is respect. Respect. Universal language. So many of my employees, while they were multilingual, bilingual, 3-4 languages even, they were working in a hospital, cleaning hospital beds, just because of their language barrier. But I know that I had one gentleman who was a pilot from Vietnam, brilliant man, if you could get through the language barrier. I had another guy that was an engineer from Russia. So just because they push a broom and push a mop and they're cleaning beds doesn't mean that they need to be talked down to, right? Doesn't mean that they need to be spoken to as if they are beneath you or they're some subservient in any way. They're highly intelligent. And what I had found when I walked into this organization is they had a very difficult time getting all of these cultures and all of these different people from all these walks of life to coordinate with one another and want to work together and work as a team. But once I instilled some of the qualities I had learned in the military of speaking to them with respect, teaching them to speak to one another with respect, even if it's just, hey, stop stealing something off of someone else's cart, right? Let's operate with a sense of respect. It was incredible how, whether or not they could speak the same language, they were able to pull that train down the line in the same direction because they had leadership and respect. So for any of you, for business, not business, that is something that, who's heard the phrase, respect is earned? I think almost everybody has. To a degree, respect is earned, but respect should always be given. Whether or not someone treats you with respect is not really the condition as to whether or not we want to give respect back to them. So These are some things that I have learned from my life story. So I'll back this bus up a little bit to give you a little bit more background on me as a human. So I'll give my little 5-minute deal. So my father has been in and out of prison my entire life. My grandfather died while serving his sentence for attempted murder of my grandmother while he was in prison serving his sentence as well. And I was adopted by my stepfather at the age of, it was between the age of 13 and 16. And I had to testify against my biological father in open court. And they cuffed him and hauled him away. My grandmother looked at me and said, well, I hope you're happy. And from there, I had to find my way through life. So, in and through all of those sorts of things, and this is why the prison ministry kind of connected with me in a very unexpected sort of way, is that when you get 18, you know, I could have looked back and I could have done like many of the men and women that I met in prison and said, well, look what happened to me, look at all these things. Or, when I'm 18, I say, listen, I don't know what I want to be, but I know what I don't want to be. I want to show people respect. I want to earn my place in the world, and I don't want to end up in the prison system. You gotta have life goals, guys. You gotta start somewhere. But what mommy and daddy did and didn't do, that doesn't hold any weight once you get to be 18 years old, Joan. It doesn't hold any weight whatsoever. We gotta make our own choices as adults. So if I operated on the level of respect only being based on people giving me respect, I would probably be one of the most disrespectful people in this room. And that wouldn't have served me, that wouldn't have helped me, and that wouldn't have helped me help other people. Which is what I'm here for, and that's what Amy Hines Real Talk is about. Everyone has a story, and your story matters. And it's not based on making excuses for your past, but you have real experience, guys, be it in or out of work. We spend a great deal of time at work. If what we have in our personal life and in our hearts and what we've learned doesn't bleed into it, and much like Will said, if it doesn't bleed into your passion and what you're doing for work, then you're not doing it right. You spend a lot of time with these people at work, you spend a lot of time investing in that, so we want it to be powerful. So respect, it's a universal language. You might be able to learn 1 or 2 phrases in their language in English, but even if you don't do that, if you operate on the level of respect, you'll be able to get people, 140 people that don't all speak the same language to move in the same direction. And I think that's pretty powerful. Another thing that I learned in the line of respect as well, I did some work in the retail industry. And in the retail industry, they do some pretty crazy things. Who's worked for a corporate entity or ever worked in retail? Do you feel like you live on Mars? When you're working for these entities and some of the decisions that they make, who thought this up? It's crazy. So when you're out in the world and you're working with people in your teams, and you're willing to get out in front and take a hit for them and make the decision that makes common sense. Corporate said you need to have, you know, fried grapes in the deli display. Who's going to eat those? Maybe in Boulder. But if you are in downtown Denver or you're in a different area, that might not make sense. So why do we have to follow the status quo? We're thinking people, we're leaders, let's be leaders. So it might not make you popular with your corporate counterparts, but I'll tell you what. If you're willing to take the hit for your team and they see that you are willing to get out front and lead by example and make decisions that protect them, make them profitable, make their jobs less miserable, they will do anything for you. They will go to bat for you. They will solve problems for you. They will work extremely hard. And at that point, you can just ask forgiveness later. Just don't get yourself fired. Okay? Only do that once. You're going to do it. So, with that in mind, know the difference between leadership and being in charge. Know the difference between leadership and being in charge. Does that hit home with anybody? Anybody can be in charge. How many have worked for people that are in charge? Definitely. There's a huge difference in the field and the entire culture of your organization when you're working for someone that has leadership qualities. And if they don't, they go out and learn it, or they delegate, or they invest in you. But someone that's in charge, it feels tyrannical, doesn't it? It's not very motivating. And when you're working the OT, you're grinding it out. Being in charge is difficult to respect sometimes. So, excuse me, lunch was delicious. So being in charge and being a leader are very, very different. I learned that in life and also in many of my career opportunities. But that would be my challenge to you, is if you are a leader in your organization, or if you have people in your organization that you've delegated to, that you don't just put them there because they've held on long enough, I've just been here a really long time, so now I'm in charge. That's not a good quantifier as to why someone should be in charge of people, right? You want them to set the tone for your organization. You want them to invest in your people. You want them to lead them down the path and think for themselves. So what I have found to be interesting in my experiences is, so often I've been dumped in positions because they say, well, you're smart, you'll figure it out. I might figure it out, I likely will, but I might not figure it out in the most efficient and effective way. And I have recently had some people pour into me and sit with me and really teach me foundationally from the ground up so I can make some very, very important decisions, but know that I am getting this train down the line to the end goal of what the top person in the company would want, because I've been invested in at the ground level. And to show me how to think. So what I have found in doing that is, I have an analogy that I've used for my employees in the past, and I've had a number of people work for me. I've also had grown men in tears on multiple occasions. And I'm not talking my ex-husband. So in my office even, in the prison environment, I don't know, apparently I'm just reading or something. Actually, what I've had some of these people say to me is, I will go to bat for you and I'll work extremely hard for you because I may not really like you, which is fine. But you have gotten in my face, you've been respectful to me, and you will call me out, and you have invested in me, and you have taught me how to do it. So you've been consistent and you're fair. So when you have to pull me into your office, you have to have one of those little come to Jesus chats. I know I've earned it because, like most of us, I've been speeding on the highway every single day to work, so that one day that I finally do get pulled over and I get my ticket, I'm like, thank you very much, I earned it. But it was, I had one gentleman, in fact, he said, I was on the verge of being fired, but it was thanks to you that I got my life together with my kids. I needed this job badly, and it took you calling me out and telling me like it is, and I respect you for that. I don't really like you very much, but I respect you. And you've saved my career, and you've challenged me. It is okay to challenge people, as long as we're doing it respectfully. We're creating structure, and we're investing in them, and we're challenging them to be better every single day. That's what a leader does. A leader helps them and invests in them. Now, you may invest in someone, and they leave, and they go to another organization because you've given them these fantastic tools that they can market and use. That's okay. Because that's a reflection of you, and now you can be really proud of the fact that when they walk into another organization, they show up very well equipped. Oh yeah, Amy taught me X, Y, and Z. My goodness, I've never had an employee be able to start out and already have these sorts of skills. You've developed leaders, and that reflects very well on you, but most often, those people will be extremely loyal, and they will stay in your organization because you're not going to find that a whole lot of other places. Most of you own your own business because you've worked for people or organizations that did not make you feel some type of way where you wanted to get up and go in and do the grind anymore. You'd rather go in and do the grind all on your own because at least when you talk to yourself, you're going to be a little bit more respectful in it. Right? One of the things that I've taught my employees as well is to treat me like a bear in their camp. Anybody here like to go camping? I like to go camping. Bears. How do you keep the bears out of your camp? Put the food somewhere else. That's exactly it. So if you don't want the bear in your camp, you're going to put the food somewhere else. Absolutely. So I tell my employees, I'm like, I'm a bear. You don't want me in your camp. I promise you don't want me in your camp. I don't have time to be in your camp. So do yourself a favor, do me a favor. Put the food out for me, okay? Put things out. I'm going to give you the structure. I'm going to tell you the menu of the things that I like and the things that I don't. And if you put the food out there for me, I'll go get the food and I won't bug you, and your day will go along just swimmingly because you fed the bear. But if the bear's got to come get it, I'm going to get some extra snacks while I'm in there making work the time. So, it's a funny analogy. I mean, you guys laugh, but my employees laugh about it too, but it hits home and it makes sense to them. That they feel like, I have some control over my space and my time, and I spend 40 hours with you, away from my kids and away from my family. How can they, some of the worst feelings in the world is when we feel out of control. I think we are living that life right now. So equip our people to feel like they have a say in a way to make their workplace better for you and for them, where they can contribute, and that they can really feed the bottom line. Additionally, in investing in them, a principle that I learned in the military, you might appreciate this as well. What branch were you? Army. Go Army. So one of the principles that they taught us was 2 up, 1 down. Right? So somebody gets hurt, somebody gets injured, somebody gets sick, somebody gets COVID, somebody has family issues, whatever the case may be. If you invest in people in your organization, where you know 2 positions above you and you know 1 position below you, that's resilience. That's resilience. We need resilience, especially as small business owners. We can't have our bottom line and our profit be dependent on that 1 person, right? Sally has been here for 15 years. Sally knows how to do everything. And if Sally goes out, we're toast. We can't have that. So it's important, even if you only have 5 employees, that they have structure and guidance, that you invest in them. You teach them how to be leaders in their own realm and take ownership of what they're doing. But at the same time, that they understand and respect and appreciate what the other people in the organization do. So if someone takes vacation or someone is out for an extended period of time, you have some backup. That helps where, as business owners, I think sometimes the tendency is, well, I can do everything, and I can do everything myself, and I'll just do it. That's not, when you go on vacation and your phone's ringing while you're out on, the 9th green, that's not very fun. That's where you go, gosh, I really wish that I'd invested in somebody. So investing in people isn't just a business principle. Investing in people is what Amy Hines Real Talk is about. Amy Hines Real Talk is a platform where we talk about life, culture, and real truth. I don't sugarcoat it. It's not perfect. I do not always wear makeup and heels and a dress. I did this just for you. I'm going to go home and, like the quote says, I'm too tired for pants. That's really my natural state of being, right? So, but investing in people and understanding their story and learning why that matters, I think that's more important than ever. Right now, our culture is in a place where we are looking for ways that we are different. We are trying to plant flags in the ground of how we're so different, and it's not creating pride, it's creating division is what it's doing. We're looking for, what are your politics and what are your religion? I want to figure out what's wrong with you so that I can dismiss you. That's not serving us. That is no longer serving us, folks. It never served us in the first place. We need to have an appreciation for people to our left and to our right. We don't need to have them talk to us for 25 minutes and learn their story. But learn enough about their story that we can understand and have empathy for people that are different than us and learn how to communicate again. We have stopped communicating. We have stopped having a conversation. And somehow, if someone is different than us or they have different experience, and my experience is different than your experience, but I might have some very good reasons based on my experience why I live my life the way that I do. However, your reasons are no less valid. And real truth is real truth. There is some real truth out in the world. It isn't all about my truth and your truth and all that. We can have our experiences, but just because we feel a thing doesn't necessarily make it right. Just because we feel a thing doesn't always make it right. It's important that we understand the people to our left and to our right, know what leadership is. And leadership is having the ability to have a conversation with people that are different than you and still walk away friends. That is my hope. As Amy Hines Real Talk in the business environment, in the personal world, I'm hoping to do more speaking engagements. So I guess my ask would be is if you've got even just a little bit of fun, get the word out that I'm available to speak, and I'll put a dress on for them too. I'll make it work. I'll take the time to invest. But thank you guys so much for having me. It is good to be back. I recognize a lot of faces, and they gave me a free membership as part of this, so I think you guys are special.